We're talking buzz baits on this edition of Tackle Shop Live, starting right now. What up? Robert Donahue, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, pal. Clifford Ruck. Bill McDermott, how you doing, Billy? Long time no see, bud. Yeah. Larry Shope. Mark, how you doing? Andy Garrett. Kevin Geezy. What's up, Kevin? Hope everything's going well with you, buddy. Roland Barker, how you doing, Roland? Always nice to have you on. Jeff, how you doing? What's going on, buddy? Philip Good, David Schottlemeyer, Andy Garrett. What is happening, everybody? We got a great show for you guys tonight. Man, oh man. Emmett, how you doing? Man, we got a great crew starting here already. Everybody's signing up, George.
Kind of rocking out here a little, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, Yeah, baby. Woo! Yeah, so David Skiles, what's happening, David Skiles? Man, how you doing, buddy? Raymond Barton, how you doing? Don Roeder. Don's he's hammered down. He's hammered. Look, we hammered him today. Yeah, rub it in, Don. Rub it in. He was out with Corbin today, and they smoked him. And he stopped in the shop right before the show here and picked up a few things and has been rubbing it in that he's been smoking them. Jason Shea, how you doing, buddy? Dave Holmes is looking for boats for the Wounded Warriors event May 21st. So any of you jet boat guys who, or not, I mean, you can go to the pool because you can kind of trailer wherever you want. It's a great event that he puts on, does a great job with that. So you can get a hold of Jason Shea. I'm going to put your name out there, Jason. Get a hold of Jason Shea. He'll put you in touch with Dave Holmes. You guys can sign up and do it. George, I know, does it every year, and it's really rewarding.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really rewarding. You get those guys out there to the Wounded Warriors, and they love it. They have a ball. They give away a ton of stuff. It's a really good time. They feed you too, right, George? Yeah, they feed you. Yep, so they feed you. And Greg Plank, how you doing, buddy? What's up, buddy? Too many Miller Lights. Not yet, Billy. Not yet. Dean Resch, how you doing? Paul, man, I tell you, that's you're right, Mark. That's a great event. I hope you guys, if anybody is available that day, they're looking for boats to get these guys on the water. All the help they can get is much appreciated for sure when it comes to that event. Speaking of events, Susquehanna Fishing Tackle, the Summer Slam tournament is in full swing right now. We're taking a registration is open. You guys can sign up for the Summer Slam tournament. That is on May the 15th, going out of Anchor Marine. And we
on the
Chesapeake Bay, the Upper Bay portion. It's a great event. It's I know we've been talking about it a lot, but I'm going to continue to talk about it because it's so unique. And for some new listeners and some people who haven't been on here before, we put on a tournament where the entry fee is a buy-in of tackle. And the sponsors of this is G. Loomis, Shimano, Jackal, and Power Pro. So the deal is you buy $250 worth of those products, and that is your entry fee. It's a pretty cool deal. That means that at the end of the day, you have a terrible day, you didn't catch any fish, or you just didn't have enough weight, everybody wins. It's a great thing. So, you know, if anybody wants to start tournament fishing, maybe never tournament fished before, or thinks that, you know, they're going to go down there and donate money, No, everybody's winning. So you can get into it. You can fish the tournament. You can have a great time. Even if you never fished there before, you can go down there. We're launching in the back of Northeast River. So big boats, small boats, whatever. You can win out of the Northeast River. You don't even need to go far. You can fish literally the top 1/3 of that thing and win that tournament. So especially this time of year, because a lot of your top anglers are going to be fishing up in that river, to try to get their big bag, and it's done all the time. People win out of there all the time, so you don't have to go far. You don't need a giant boat. You just need to have a live well and all the safety gear and the proper insurance. We have all the rules and regulations on our website. You can go to our website, click on the banner, and it'll take you there, and you can download the registration slip. It'll give you instructions on how to register, and we will have that tournament, and we will see you there May the 15th, and it's a great great time. And yes, we do a big tackle toss there, so we'll have it's fun.
I can't wait.
George loves doing it. He loves throwing a tackle in the air and everybody's scrambling for it. It's pretty cool. It's like an Easter egg hunt for adults, adult fishermen.
I like the fact that it's a big tournament for this part of the world. Now, some of you from other parts that are listening in, you regularly have 300 boat tournaments.
Yeah.
In the Northeast here, we don't.
We get 130 boats, 135. We're looking for 140 this year.
It's a big tournament, but it's, to me, it's exciting because you have both dynamics taking place. You got the hardcore, like local, regular, I don't miss a tournament guys. That crowd's there. And then you have the newbies.
Yeah.
The occasional tournament people.
Yeah.
Everybody is kind of having a good time together. There's no haves and have-nots. As a matter of fact, I'm looking for the streak to continue of a newcomer.
Yeah.
Or relatively newcomer
to tournament
in
fishing.
A small boat to cash a top check. It happens every single
year. Every year we get I know Mark's on here from Lisa Lake Fishing Club. He fished it for the first time last year. I think he came in 6th place or something like that. He cashed a big check.
It was pretty good.
He had a nice bag of fish. He went down I think once or twice beforehand, and they went out and caught him. So anybody can do it.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's really a good time.
It's a great time of the year to fish. For those of you who are maybe not from the area that follow Tackle Shop Live, we tend to talk about our local region a lot because we're very proud of it, and also our local region encompasses a lot of what goes on in the country. But we quite often talk about the Chesapeake Bay. A lot of people call it the Upper Bay. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's the very top northernmost portion of the Chesapeake Bay,
right where the Susquehanna River runs in.
Right where the Susquehanna River runs in, and there's 4 or 5 other rivers and numerous creeks, but it's very fertile. And in the spring of the year, everything is migrating up there to spawn. Blueback herring. I'm talking about blueback herring that migrate from the ocean. White perch, yellow perch. Now the yellow perch are done spawning, and by then the white perch are done spawning, but you have all the young of the year from the yellow perch and the white perch starting to show up. You have all different kinds of just life, and it's really good fishing. Yep. You're going to see some big weights.
For sure.
You're going to see some big fish. 24, 25-pound bags that time of the year are not uncommon at all.
Absolutely.
7 and 8 pound fish in that area are not uncommon at all. Now, keep in mind, if you're not fishing this area, if you listen to the numbers that I just told you about, I mean, this is like destination fishery. Mm-hmm. So it's an exciting tournament. It's on a great fishery. It's at a fantastic facility that can handle a couple hundred rigs with ease. It's sponsored by great companies.
Shimano, G Loomis, Jackal and Power Pro.
They come in with full support. There's swag, there's gift bags for everyone. There's we have our world famous tackle toss.
Yep.
I mean, we have a good time. So
It
we're ramping up for that, and we would really like to see a big turnout from you all.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
And
be fun for everybody. Like I said, it's really for the guys who maybe are thinking about getting in tournament fishing, and it's a great opportunity for you to get there. Ed Rydnowski, how you doing? Dave Richardson, how you doing, buddy? Jake Harshman, what's up, bud? Jamie Johnson, how are you? Steve Hanna, JS Bowhunt 13 from YouTube, how you doing, pal? Russell Wright, Jack Hinkle, I think I said that already. Antonio Gomez, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Hope your leg's coming along fine. John Snook, what do you guys say? How's everybody doing? Carl Bunch, wow. Hey, Carl, how you doing? Man, that's a name I haven't seen that forever. How you doing, Carl? Glad you're stopping in, buddy. Long time no see. Jack Hick or Cody Edmonds. Well, anyway, good deal, buddy. And Scott Kalen, what's up, buddy? The sticker on the computer's upside down. That's George's computer.
Sticker on however I please.
That's George's computer, and yes, he does that all the time. Okay, so that's what's going on there, and you guys can check that out. Now, here's another little tidbit of information. My name is Mike Acord. For the people that don't know and are stopping in here for the first time, this is George Acord, and behind the camera is cameraman Nick. How you doing, Nick? What's going on, bud?
I am doing awesome, and I got to tell everybody, I'm looking in front of me, and George is there, and it's a special time of year when he has his coasters up on the hat.
Oh, yeah.
That means it's game on real soon.
Oh, yeah. Well, he never probably from the rest of the year will ever take them off his hat.
That's right, and I like that.
Nick, I get accused of wearing a hat too much.
Okay.
And also of having my coasters on my hat at all times, but you never know.
You never know.
I mean, I could be fishing. A poker game might break out. I might get in a big hand. I got to drop the shades quick. Driving to work, I mean, I'm ready.
He's ready all the time.
And let me tell you about my coaster collection. I got the Sunrise Silver on the Sunrise lens. That's for my rainy day, low light. And then these are my copper, green mirror, copper. This is the new Blackfin Pro with the adjustable temple the nose piece. No more nose piece issues. No more. I mean, this thing adjusts to your nose. It's super comfortable. Glass lens. You're covering me up.
Yeah.
Because I look good with these glasses on.
No, I have to
show everybody.
I have to mute you out there, buddy.
And then the gray for the bright sun. And
pretty much George has a set.
You can go.
He's got a set of them.
You can go
and
silver,
multiples.
Mirror, blue mirror, or straight gray. I like a mirror. I go a blue mirror because it reflects some sunlight. And I'll tell you what.
On those bright days, absolutely.
That's my game, Nick.
Well, George, I got to ask you something real quick because you got a lot of people watching right now, and you're talking about those coasters, and it's that time of year where you better be ready.
Yeah.
And somebody walks in the store here, and they're looking for one pair. That's an all around. It's that one you have on
right here. Yeah. Yeah. We sell a lot of coasters here at the shop. We keep about 70 to 80 unique pairs of glasses on hand at any one time. Because, this part here is called the temple, and everybody's head's a different size.
Yeah.
So you have different size, temples. You have different width. Okay. So your fit's different. You have the narrow, the wider, and even a medium size. You have different from glass to polycarbonate lenses. 4 different tints with up to 3 different mirrors. It's a complicated company.
Yeah.
So we try to keep like 70 to 80 unique pairs on hand, as well as a set of readers. So we'll have them available with anywhere from a
1.5, I think, to a 2.5.
I think it's a 1.5 or a 1.0 to a 2.5. But these new nose pieces, Nick, on the Pro Series, you know, Costa gets a lot of flack for their old nose pieces because depending on your skin type,
Oil.
makeup, you know, the type of stuff that you emit, you know, you can have a problem. They've eliminated that with this new nose piece. It's adjustable, and you know what?
They have a PX division too. So guys like me who are blind,
They look good.
They you can get the RX versions, but you know, I'm just going to tell you straight up, get ready to get your wallet out. They're not cheap, but you got to have them when you're fishing. Got to have a good pair of glasses when you're fishing. So I saw that Greg Plank stopped in today, and he's checking in. How you doing, Greg? And he forgot his bait fuel. He wanted to get that bait fuel.
Might want to hurry up on that because I'm starting to see a
bait fuel
shortage.
Yeah.
I know we had an ample supply.
Yeah.
And we no longer have an ample supply.
And Bill McDormick said that, are you getting your change jar ready because you got your glasses? A little bit of poker action. All right. So, and then one other thing I want to mention today, just in the mail, Nick, and I know you're a big fan of it, and you said it on the pre-show, we got 3 power pole charges in today. And I don't think they're going to last real long. They are here. You have to call the shop. They're not on the website because they're just so limited. You got to call the shop here if you want one. But we have 3 of them in stock. They came in through the door today.
We do have to give you a fair warning. They took a healthy price increase like everyone else.
Yeah.
So,
well, they
when you come in and see the price tag on them.
Well, I asked Nick that.
You don't need to ask. You don't need to ask if that price is right because it is.
I asked Nick about it, and I said, "What would you pay, you know, for one of these things?" And
like this, $1 million.
Hey, you know, I was honest, and I want to be honest with everybody out there. I put one of these on my boat last year. I was skeptical. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah,
and I'm fishing the BFLs last year. I'm a man on a budget, you know, as far as the rooms and this and that. And the first time I was in New York somewhere, I looked at my phone and it said complete charge after a total day of pre-fishing. And I'm like, there's no way. So I plug it in. It's complete charge, all my batteries. That thing saved me and will continue to save me a lot of time and aggravation of trying to find a place to plug in all the time.
Yeah.
It really works. I think it's very well worth it because not all of us use all our electronics that we have.
Yeah.
But every one of us that has a boat has to use the charger.
Yeah.
Everybody. And that thing works. That's all I can tell you.
Well, it gives you peace of mind. That's a big thing, you know, and it's on the water. I think it has a built-in jump starter in it too.
It does.
You know, so I mean, it's just gives you peace of mind when you're on the water, and it makes your boat run at an optimal performance. The trolling motor, the electronics, everything is running at its optimal performance at all times.
A lot more than give you peace of mind. It gives you a ton of power.
Yeah, tons of power. So
what it does is it charges back off your motor. So as you're running your big motor, you know, like in our setups that we have, Mike, on our boats.
Yeah.
When we run our big motor, we charge our crank battery.
Yeah.
The power pole charge, all batteries get recharged.
Right.
And it will actually direct power if you have a battery that's lower for whatever reason, it'll direct power to that battery.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean,
which is cool as hell.
It's not just
balancing.
Charging. Now, you know, you got to make more than a 3-minute run.
Yeah.
To do anything. You can't just fire up and jump across the lake and expect all your stuff to be at 100% recharge.
Yeah.
but it throws enough juice back in, particularly on the big crank motors. If you're running a big 250, I know Mercury, for example, that takes a big hit for cranking. Mercury actually specifies a much higher crank battery than, say, a Yamaha does.
Yeah.
And then if you have, 3 or 4 or 5 graphs hooked up to that, and you're running recirc on 2 live wells and power poles, and you're dropping the beat to your freaking music while you're out there fishing.
Yeah.
And you got your
Yeah.
tunes cranking.
Well,
and,
it happened to me and George. We last year when we were fishing tournament, we had a bag in the live well, and we went to fire up. We were pushing right to the last minute, and trying to get a bigger fish because we knew we needed one big one, and we were pushing it. One more cast, let's get, and then I hooked this freaking catfish, which I thought was, the winning. That happens.
Mm-hmm.
I was excited.
Right.
And so I had to take his catfish off, and it was like, last second jumping down the seat, click, click, so it happened to us. It's never going to happen to us again, period. It's not going to happen.
That's a bad feeling. And you know what? The nice thing about the Charge 2 is there's an app on your phone, and everything's right at your fingertip.
Yeah.
You can do everything right there. You can see where you're at. You can see what it's doing. You can change the settings on the fly, whatever you want to do. And like George said, if your boat is completely set up like many are today with all this electronics, I think it's a must-have.
Yeah.
Because you want to get the optimal performance out of everything you have anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and the other aspect there, it comes from Power Pole, who is a absolutely phenomenal company. I mean,
well, they have one of the greatest service departments that you'll ever deal with.
It's over the top.
You'll never deal with a better company ever. So
it's over the top. I mean, we've been a Power Pole dealer since there's been Power Poles.
Yeah. It's amazing what they do for customers.
Not that we have very many problems, because we don't, but once in a blue moon, we have a problem, and it's just like, boom.
Yeah.
We don't have no more problems. So you're getting tremendous service after the sale, should you have a problem. Yeah. So anyways, we got 3 of them back in stock. They're literally non-existent. I mean, I talked to our girl at Power Pole company and JL Marine, and they're allocating these units for the rest of the year. Three at a time, unless you're like a big mega dealer, you're getting 3. So we got 3.
Yeah.
Which, you know what, is 3 times better than none.
Yeah, at least we're getting something.
And guys, I just wanted to quick throw out there. I see some of the comments on here. People always worry about the batteries. Now, I can't tell you the ins and outs. George would know more than that. But I can tell you every battery in my boat is a lithium battery. And I've had 0 problems for a year.
Well, there is some tricky navigation there. For example, Mercury Marine will only honor their motor warranty under certain lithium batteries for cranking. So you got to be really, really careful. If you have the wrong battery and your, motherboard of your Mercury goes out, you better have a lot of money.
It's on you,
because they are telling you up front, But anyways,
yeah,
I would recommend to Nathaniel Martimer, strongly recommend a 31 group AGM. So Mike and I run the interstate batteries, which we sell here at the shop, and we run the 31 group AGM crank marine crank battery that has a high reserve minute, and it's designed to crank and run those electronics. And we have no problems. We run lots.
Yeah.
We run lots of
George,
on those
batteries. After we had our problem, we put one in, and then, it's not just electronics. It's which is the big thing. That's what's drawing. But you're running your live well pumps all of a sudden
nonstop,
and that with the power wattage that these live scope needs now, and these
360.
360s need, and these helixes and these solixes, they're pulling so much power. You have to go to that style of battery to get what you need. So yeah, it's going to cost you some money on that battery, but in the long run, it's going to help you out. And if you have a power pole charge, it'll equal everything out and keep you going without worrying about, even still, I'm finding myself shutting stuff off, because until we get our power pole charge in the boat, I just find myself pushing buttons, and because I'm worried, I'm still worried about it. So, but so far we had no problems with the AGM.
No, we're good.
Yeah, we're good with that.
So we kind of got off track there a little bit, fellas.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. We got a special guest that we're kind of
rein this program back.
Well, we're kind of sliding this out a little bit because we have a secret guest coming in at 7:40.
Well, we can talk about a little bit of tournament talk here.
7:45.
A little bit of tournament talk that'll kind of lead us in the direction of our big discussion tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely do that.
It's going to head that way. Tournament talk is going to carry us in that direction.
Yeah. So, without further ado, yeah. Tournament talk, and we've been watching the tournament on TV today, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much of it.
Well,
it sounded like they were catching some fish out.
23 something's winning the damn thing.
That'll work.
Somebody stroked him. Yeah. You know it was that Italian dude.
Giacomo Giappelli?
Yeah, 23 and change.
Giacomo.
Yeah. He smoked him. So that was fun.
He won
they had a couple 21-pound bags.
He won a tournament on that circuit last year on Potomac River.
Yeah. I remember when he did it.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the one he won another one too then?
That I don't know. I do know that he won the Potomac.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was right in the end of June, beginning of July.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
I saw him at ICAST, and he was telling me about his deal there. But anyways, last week we had the Bass Northern Open on the James River, which, is kind of interesting to us because we've fished the James. It's just 4 hours down the road from us. It's a big tidal river, and our team here loves big tidal rivers.
Yeah.
It's a legendary tournament venue. I think there was 3 classics in a row contested there. Rick Clunn won a classic there. Hank Parker won a classic there, which created the classic spinner bait for Mans, which at the time was a hog color. Rick Clunn cranked.
Yeah.
Pose flat-sided crankbaits.
Yeah. That was a great tournament. He
Jim Bitter bounced the winning fish out of his boat. flipped up a keeper.
Man.
Boat flipped it. It bounced off the hook. It landed on the carpet. He did a ba, and over the side it went. Heartbreaking. He lost by an ounce. Just heartbreaking.
A lot of history down there.
Yeah.
A lot of history. Great river.
Yeah. It goes back. You're down there. When you're riding down that river, it's like, you ride up the Appomattox River. We're talking, the history of America.
Yeah.
Pivotal moments in the Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
And the founding of our nation. It's just a cool freaking place, man. It's just, if you haven't been there,
yeah,
it's a destination. And then they have the Chickahominy River coming in.
Cypress trees.
Yeah.
They got it all down there. Florida strain largemouth.
Yeah.
Are they Florida strain or are they those hybrid things?
F1s.
F1s.
Yeah. They're just fast growing, shad eating machines. I remember when I first started fishing the James River, 11 pounds a day, and you were like,
winning.
I'm up in this.
Yeah.
This Bass Open right here, 11 pounds a day, got you a handshake, that a boy, and a 114th place finish. My, times have changed on the mighty James River.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What was day one winner leader, like 25 pounds?
Yeah, we saw a 25-pound bag on
Yeah.
day one, and we saw a 24-11-pound bag on day three.
Yeah.
By our winner, Kenta Kamara.
Yes.
I think he goes by
Kino.
I don't know. He has a nickname. But anyways, 24-11. And I mean, this tournament saw pre-spawn. This tournament saw betting fish. You know, good friend of the shop here, Keith Poche, was back in a backwater with his little 17-foot boat.
Love that.
Little
aluminum boat.
Yeah, it's a gator track.
Yeah.
It's a gator track, you know, 4-wheel drive boat.
Yeah.
He has a 90 Merc on it with a Bob's Machine Shop low water pickup. He can jack that thing out of the water. He
was jumping logs.
Well, the first day he hit the tide a little low, and he forgot his push pole, so he went to Home Depot and bought a 2x4 and had a push pole.
He's going to put that with his fluger.
His flogger.
Flogger.
The second day he went and was able to run in there, but he bumped a few stumps. No problem for him.
Yeah.
But he had 24, 25 pounds.
Yeah.
And he was sight fishing at low tide. So you had all different kinds of stuff going on. You had big swim baits played again. Kenta Kamara fished a big swim bait. You had, what we're going to talk about tonight, the buzz bait. The buzz bait played hard. So we're going to talk about the buzz bait tonight. We're going to segue off of this Bass Northern Open. Of course, Texas rig stick worms. I think Keith said he was fishing the Maxent General. Wacky rigs played. Anytime they're spawning, just straight up flipping a jig, flipping a creature bait. And the spinner bait. I mean, when you're on tidal water, spinner bait is a game changer, and the spinner bait played big time here. A lot of Colorado combinations, Colorado Indiana blade combinations. Straight up chartreuse and white. The co-angler who won caught big fish both days of the tournament. He had more weight than he would have finished like 20th.
Wow. With
a 3-fish limit. He would have finished like in 25th place or something.
What was he catching them on?
Spinnerbait.
Oh, spinnerbait.
He was catching them on a double Colorado spinnerbait. As he put it, medium-sized blades.
We got to do a spinnerbait show because the spinnerbait's in play all of a sudden. Again.
5/16 ounce. Chartreuse and white, just old school river fishing 101.
Yeah.
And he said the big thing was banging that thing off the wood. He caught all his fish.
That's Hank Parker style.
As a co-angler, he caught all of his fish doing that. So all those baits played big. And I think it highlights the great fishery. I have an interesting takeaway on the opens. The opens have, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this, because I frickin' love it. I straight up love it.
The opens?
What I'm about to discuss.
Oh.
The opens have an unlimited practice period. The opens have if you can write the check and you get online quick enough, you're qualified. Okay?
It's open. It's open, in other words.
Yeah.
Open to anybody.
But here's the deal. You can get down there and practice for 49 straight days in a row. Sore mouth every damn fish on the river. And those guys very, very seldom
do anything.
Yeah. Time and time again, the guy that has 2 or 3 or 4 days to pre-fish,
yeah,
who comes in, focuses on the local at the moment conditions, not what they were doing 49 days ago. Plays.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to me, that is a very interesting concept because it's always the comment that you always hear is, oh, well, you know, this guy lives down there and he fishes 49 straight days and he's got more money than he knows what to do with and 5 new boats and everything you could possibly. No, that's not an advantage. It's proven over and over and over again. What do you think about that, Nick?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think either you or Mike hit the nail on the head a couple weeks ago when you said it would do everybody good if they had one of those Will Smith, lose
Men in Black
things, because we take notice of it even here at a local level. Experience is good if you fish in the moment.
Yeah.
Experience is bad if you fish off history.
Yeah.
And we can't help it. I think it's human nature.
Yeah. We say it all the time
to fish history.
Yeah.
And if you're in a tournament, you are going to get lapped time and time again from a guy who just fishes the moment.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Keith Pochet finished second.
Yeah.
Guess how much time in his entire life he's been on the James River?
I don't know.
2 days before the tournament, plus the 2 days of the tournament.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well,
that's his life's experience on the river. Okay. Oh, and by the way, 17-foot gator boat with a 90-horse Merc. So, as far as having to compete with a 21-footer with a 250, as far as needing unlimited practice.
Where did he fish? Did he run down a chick?
He went back so far that they had to pipe in freaking GPS coordinates to find him.
Hey, look who just walked in here.
There he is.
There he is.
What's up, Corbin?
Oh my God, I was not going to miss the Buzzbait show.
Yeah, buddy.
You got to get your mind right, man.
Corbin.
What's up, guys?
George, I got a question for you, though.
Well, let me bring Corbin up to speed real quick. 1 minute. So, Corbin, we're talking about the Bass Northern Open on the James.
Pochet.
Yeah, we're talking about, all different things. The river. We're talking about, the history. We're talking about but right now what we're really talking about is the perceived advantage of unlimited practice, unlimited wallet, and how can I compete against that? And guess what, Corbin? That unlimited stuff, that don't play.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I hope you do agree because the freaking standings bear it out.
But
time and time again.
Yeah. But you know what? What I will say is like unlimited practice, maybe on that particular fishery. But if you take somebody that has a lot of time on the water, like in general, I think that definitely helps. Not necessarily that body of water, but fishing a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we talk about like Brian Schmidt being a saltwater charter captain, going down there, he just had a top 10 on the James. Obviously, he knows tides very well, but just little things like that, I feel like definitely help.
That's more important.
But you said, somebody can still do very, very well.
Well, what we're specifically talking about is Bass Opens have an unlimited pre-fish. Now, they do have a rule that up in the 3 days before the tournament, which are the official pre-fish days, no one can be in your boat who is not a competitor.
Yeah.
Okay. So like my dad used to pre-fish with me all the time. And if we would go a couple days early and maybe get 4.5 days in, when it hit official, I'd take old Pops into the boat dock and send him packing because he couldn't be in the boat with me because he wasn't in a tournament, which I like that, because now you're in the current time frame. But our conversation, which is about to end, by the way, is, there is a perceived advantage there.
Yeah.
There is not a real advantage there.
Yeah.
Because all the guys who win all these tournaments are not locals.
Right.
So I just want to put that out there because, any one of us watching tonight can be competitive in any tournament that we want to fish.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
let it creep into your head. Well, I can't go up to. I never been to Oneida before. I can't go up there and be competitive in the open. Well, I beg to differ because the numbers bear it out.
Yeah, you're right.
And that, Nick.
Oh, I agree 100%. And I wanted to ask you, you fished a lot of big tournaments. Did you see that same thing apply in your experience?
Yeah, I was always amazed how the local guys who, were practicing like all this time and knew every little inch of that water. In many instances, it didn't play. I always said that, and that's why when I was looking at this, I'm thinking, you know what? We're going to talk about this.
Yeah, George, I think one thing that's really cool about that too is specifically with like the tidal water aspect of it, because the tides are a whole other thing that people may or may not know. I mean, so if you go to a lake and you graph and you find something, that's one thing, but you could go back if you don't fish tidal water much and it's completely out of the water, which makes it even more impressive.
Exactly.
to pick it out
Well,
in 2 days.
Keith Poche finished in second place.
Yeah.
He has never seen the James River before in his life.
Right.
He practiced for about 2.5 days.
He's the man.
And then he fished a tournament. So, and he fished out of a 17-foot aluminum boat with a 90 Merc.
I love it.
Which and he's been doing it for a couple years now.
Yeah.
So, I guess the word of the day is, competitive. And to be competitive in professional, or I call this AAA level, you don't need all these advantages. You can take your local boat, right, that you run around here with or wherever you live.
Yep.
With your single axle trailer and your 150 motor,
right,
and your 2 7-inch graphs, and stop saying it. It's not true. Stop saying that you have to have 4 12-inch graphs and 360 and you don't have to have any of that.
Hey, I can vouch for that. Last year at the BFLs, I'm not going to lie to you, I never been in a lot of these bodies of water, and I'm looking at the people that are showing up, and they historically fish these every year. And I'm thinking exactly what you said. How am I going to compete with these guys?
Yeah.
But I learned very quickly, like George said, some of the guys that I knew fished there every year, they struggled. And it wasn't that they didn't know how to catch them. It's just probably history told them this. I didn't know better.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what history told me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I ever fished a big tournament on Lake Erie, I got crushed.
Yeah.
Right. The second time that I ever fished a tournament on Lake Erie, I cashed a check. And you thought I would have won the freaking Bassmasters Classic, man. And the third time I ever fished a big tournament on Lake Erie, I almost won the tournament. So you don't have to be a local and know, what I mean?
You're right.
So, Mike, we're going to talk about some buzzbaits tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
we're gonna get into some buzzbait conversation and some more tournament talk here, but
Because the buzzbait played, right?
But
whoa,
yeah, we're gonna get into all that. We're gonna get into some more tournament talk. We're gonna talk about buzzbaits. We're gonna slide into that, but we got a special guest.
I thought I was already here.
We got a secret. Yeah. Well, we didn't know you were coming. You kind of
We got
surprised
the
us.
buzzbait kid.
This is awesome, bro.
Well,
This is a double whammy for everybody. Man, here he is right here. We got a special guest. Can anybody guess who it is?
the pasta eat.
Can anybody guess who it is?
Pasta man.
Let's check it out here. Let's see if we got him.
Yo.
Greg De Palma.
My.
What?
What's up, guys? What's going on? And Corbin, yes, the pasta is brewing as we speak.
No.
That GDP man was coming on to Tackle Shop Live.
Ah,
We-
he got you on
we
the
last
pump
minute
thing
you.
like Shea Patterson.
We last minute you.
That's awesome.
Greg, let me hear you talk. I don't think your sound's on.
It should be. You don't have me?
Yeah, you got to hit the X where it says on your microphone.
I should be on.
Does it say something on your microphone down there somewhere? settings or?
It's showing. It's on.
We
I don't
can't
know
read
why.
your lips, Greg.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Let me see. Maybe it's me. Hang on, Greg. I think it might be me.
I was gonna say mine
Hold up.
says on.
Oh,
Perfect.
Is
There
that
he
me,
is.
Greg?
You got me now.
Yeah. It
I was
wasn't me.
gonna
It was
say,
you.
mine says it's on.
It wasn't me. You hit the button.
My,
No, he hit the
my.
button.
To the producer.
He hit the button. It wasn't.
Oh,
It's
It
okay.
wasn't you.
Corbin, we actually have pasta brewing right now as we speak.
I knew.
Yeah,
Dude,
the
GDP.
pasta man.
Guess
Yeah.
what almost happened today?
What's that?
I almost did a video cranking with a David Fritz crankbait rod on the Mine River
No
with
way.
a 5-to-1 lose reel and fire line.
Well,
But
if
I
was
figured it
there,
would
I
go
would've clapped.
viral, so I didn't. I was like, man, if I'd send this to GDP, he'd be like, "Eh."
I knew it.
I knew
Yo,
it.
GDP.
Give me some French dressing.
Congrats
That's
on
right.
that.
Greggy, how you
French
doing,
brother.
bud?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Congratulations on your fishing here lately, man. You've been kind of on a roll. You've been doing some good things, and you got to be feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, man, this fishing game is so wild because you can do everything right and things go the opposite way. And then on the other side of it too, once things do line up a little bit, man, it just gets even better. So like this past couple events have been really good because made good decisions. I went left when I should have went left, and the fish that are biting are staying on the hook. So that's a big part of it.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's awesome. It was great watching you. And you had a great finish down at
Chickamauga.
James.
I get them all screwed up. The James, you did great. And
Yeah, James, Chickamauga. I think 16th at Chickamauga and 40th at the James.
yeah. So that's great finishes there. Now you love the James.
I do. I'm going to say this: if you haven't been to the James River, it should be a bucket list place. It's by far the best East Coast tidal river we have. Period.
Wow.
Is there
Wow.
an echo? Is there an echo in the room?
Wow.
I hear
Did you
it,
say
Greg.
that already?
Diploma.
Yeah.
Come on, GDP.
I think we should have SFT trip down there. Honestly,
I think we should. That'd be great,
Oh,
man.
If Poche can take his Cajun boat, I'm going to bring Velasa. I'm going to be jumping them stumps too, Bobby.
I like it.
So I don't know if you want to give anything up, but you hear these guys fishing up in these creeks, and I know you've been known to carry a chainsaw with you. When you go fishing, was that playing for you at all, or?
No, so this was kind of so I had like 2 days of practice because we had the lead event right against it.
Right.
Brian Setlock was with me, and I was probably driving him nuts because like my best areas that I thought were going to be the spawning areas, I literally did not touch them until like the last day. We had to be off the water at 12 o'clock the last day. And I told Brian, I said, all right, Brian, get ready to shake off some fish. And so I just kept checking other spawning areas that I know on that river. And then the best stuff, I waited to the very last day because we had the warming trend coming. And I knew I didn't want to go in there early and kind of get my hopes up and not really have it unfold the way I wanted it to. So I waited.
Yeah.
The last day of practice, I go in there and I tell Brian, I'm like, all right, get ready to get some bites. So we went in there and we just shook them off the entire way down this whole stretch.
Oh,
I
man.
started rotating around the different stretches. And some stretches I didn't even go on because I didn't want to be seen on them, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, the place has got them, man. Flat out.
Holy mackerel.
You know.
Yeah. So that's awesome when that happens. Were they there the next day? Of course they were.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
'Cause you
Day one. So I probably caught, I'm going to say 25 or 30 fish day one. And I had at least 40 fish day two, at least.
Wow.
Yep. Tons of them. And
Wow.
there was guys, the thing about it is too, so day two, we had a fog delay for like an hour. And I was like, perfect, because a lot of them opens guys, they get spun out so easy, something so stupid like that. And they get in that rush momentum where they make that long run down to the chick. They already burned 45 minutes running, already lost an hour because of the fog delay. So I was like licking my chops because I knew them guys are going to fish really fast through the areas. A lot of these fish were spawning. So you had to really slow down and kind of, I'm going to do a recap video for you guys, obviously. So I'm not going to give away too much here, but
Yeah.
you really had to slow down and get behind these guys. At any given point, there was always 5 or 6 boats literally on the same tree line as me right in front of me. And I was catching fish the whole way behind all these guys. Because they were kind of fishing quick and they weren't fishing thoroughly. And I just took my time and picked it apart.
What were you throwing?
I can't give it all away, Mikey.
I'm going to ask.
I do have a very special. So as you already know, I like to really dive into my bait selection when I'm making my selections. And I really do Nick fished with me the one time on Harris chain. I really rotate baits a lot through the course of the day to really try to narrow down what they're biting best on. Last year on the James River, I figured out something that I'm not going to give this away in the recap, but there's a
No.
certain bait that's really, really good there. I can't
Oh,
give it
wow.
away. It's too damn good.
Well, I mean, hey, everybody's got to have a secret.
Yep. So I'm going to give away the B bait.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you, brother, because that's so competitive down there. And if you got a little edge,
Yep.
I don't blame you one bit at all, because sometimes that's what it is. It's that little edge that does it,
And I'll vouch for you, Greg. I mean, you put your time in, and when it comes to baits and colors and everything else like that, you have it dialed in.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It really does, because I don't care how tough the fishing is. There is always a way to catch them better than the next guy. Always. And it takes a lot of time to figure this stuff out. But like, listen, you have your hardcore baits that you're going to throw. And sometimes diving into a little bit different color or a little more action or less action on whatever you're doing literally can make that big of a difference sometimes. And especially when you're in a high pressure situation where you're following a lot of different fishermen, having them baits that are a little bit more dialed will get you more bites.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very true.
Well,
also it does something for your mental,
yeah,
which in turn, gives you that all in fishing, in that moment.
100%.
So everybody who's just checking in here, tonight's show, we were doing a pre-production meeting here today, and George and I and Nick, and we were talking about our show, which was going to be a buzzbait show, and Nick goes, man, Greg's like, he's like the buzzbait master, and he had that video about tuning his buzzbaits.
I heard he just picked up a sponsorship.
And I even think
fans.
he said, and I even think that at Chickamauga, he was catching them on a buzzbait there. He said, let's see if we can get him on. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. So last minute we called Greg like at 6:15 or something like that, I think. And we asked him if he would like to join us and talk about some buzzbaits. And part of that, and he of course agreed, which thank you so much, Greg. We appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy right now, and you're working your tail end off, and you just got home, and
he's cooking pasta, for God's
sakes.
Well,
yeah. And so, but I think, we're just doing our tournament talk. And one of the things that we didn't quite get to, but we were going to jump into, was the Chickamauga tournament.
Yep.
And, which is going to lead us right into, our buzzbait talk. And we really want to pick your brain about buzzbait fishing and what you do, because you do something a little different, and you are definitely
we're in
tuned
that
on
season
to it.
now.
We're in it right now. Yeah.
I mean, the buzzbait played on the James.
Yeah.
The buzzbait played on Chickamauga. I mean, we saw some phenomenal footage of Greg.
Yeah.
I think his feet cleared the deck by about 8 inches on that hook set.
that was a great hook set, man.
That was like Air Jordan, man.
That was great. So what led you up to and first of all, what was the water temperature, and what led you up to throwing that thing? I mean, is it something that that you do that for this time of year? I mean, a lot of people don't think of a buzzbait. I'm telling you, there's guys that I'm telling to throw a buzzbait, and they're like, right now, it's a summertime thing.
Yeah. So, to kind of give you a quick breakdown on when do I throw a buzzbait. So I'm talking out of a Northeast guy, where we have a lot of weather changes. Versus down south, where you can throw it pretty much the entire year, no problem. Well, let me just say this: I don't think that there is a particular water temp where it won't work. I've caught them in the 40s, low 40s on a buzzbait. I can tell you this, and if you want to put this to the test, this is a great way to do it. So, around here where we live, every February there's always a spike in temperature for like 2-3 days, where we get like maybe some 60s and maybe some 70s just for a day. I'm talking about wintertime, when you have a real big spike. There's a lot of times in the wintertime on them days where we had them giant spikes, and I've caught them so good on a buzzbait in the dead of winter. It's crazy. Them spikes do one thing: they make the fish look up. They make the fish start to eat. That's what they do. Mm-hmm. So my rule of thumb kind of goes: if the fish are looking up, if the fish are feeding, they'll bite a buzzbait. Okay, so what that means is, around here, anytime that temperature gets to be in the 50s, that's when the fish are looking up. That's all there is to it. That's when they're feeding. That's when I start throwing a buzzbait. And I'm not saying it works all the time at that temp, but when you do figure it out, it's special. So
Yeah.
on Chickamauga, which is really cold for Chickamauga, we had 54 degrees in practice was the starting temperature. And I started getting them on the buzzbait instantly.
Of the water?
What's that?
Of the water or the air?
Air,
54.
water. The water is
Oh.
54.
Wow.
Oh.
Yes, 54.
Nice.
So, I got them on the buzzbait literally the first day of practice, and I kind of never put it down. So in practice, too, guys, the buzzbait that I throw has no hook on it. I cut the hook off completely. It's just a black skirt buzzbait. It's this same buzzbait right here. I just, this one's got a hook on it, but I just cut it off right here at the bottom. The cool part about that with a buzzbait in practice, when there's no hook on one of these things, number one, you can skip it like crazy, but number two, you literally can throw this thing into any lay down.
Oh yeah.
It tells you it's like throwing a big glide. These have more drawing power besides a big glide. A buzzbait has the drawing power that's probably number 2 compared to a big glide bait. Honestly,
Yeah.
I throw a buzzbait a lot of time for a search bait. Once that temp gets in the 50s, it kind of clues me into where the fish are actually setting up at. Whether they're, if you're in a creek, whether they're in the first third in the back flats, it'll give you can cover a ton of
Cover
water
a lot of water. Yeah.
really fast, and that's why it's so efficient a buzzbait. But when they get on it, it's special.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I would say if your temperatures are 55 or above, you can get them on a buzzbait every single time pre-spawn for sure.
Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, we have a lot to talk about buzzbaits here, and we're going to get into that. What makes a good buzzbait? When you guys come into the shop, and we have a bunch of buzzbaits back here. We're going to show a bunch of them here. What makes a good buzzbait?
I would say the biggest thing that separates buzzbait is going to be the wire size. You got to really make sure that some buzzbaits out there, a lot of them are custom ones when I'm talking about, but some buzzbaits will have the wire to where it's not strong enough or it's too strong. So if you have them where the wire's too, I think this is like a 38. I want to say this wire size is. I could be wrong, but so if you have a wire size that is too light, the buzzbait tends to do this when you're reeling it. It'll pick up and bend like that. Now, if you have a buzzbait that is too thick of a wire, it doesn't really allow the buzzbait to make the proper noise, it seems like. Having the in-between wire size, I'll have to double check on this wire size, but so this is a custom buzzbait my buddy makes for me. Prior to him making them, a guy, it was called Hunter Creek, used to make these buzzbaits. He ended up passing away last year, and for the last 15 years, I threw his buzzbaits. So when he passed away, I approached my buddy Stevie Hanna, and he got the buzzbait and he matched it to the T. So, a little bit of trial and error. We tested some things out, but we got it just right. So the biggest thing seems to be the wire size needs to be spot on. That's the biggest thing. If you guys remember back in the day too, there was a buzzbait by Hart. I'm sure George knows what I'm talking about. That buzzbait was perfect. It was a great buzzbait off the shelf. You could pick it up and just throw it instantly. It would take a little bit of tuning to break it in too. Obviously, like you guys saw, like you said, that video I did, that's just a really good way. I got a lot of comments. Guys said the same thing you said, Mike, where they tied the buzzbait to the antenna or hanging out the window. That's probably an okay way to do it, but
you got to really watch how you do that.
Yeah, you got to watch the paint.
You can smoke right through that thing pretty quick.
We're working on a rig right now with a subcontractor that was in today, Greg. And basically it's a wooden framework, and I'm being serious, by the way.
Yeah.
That holds a 6-pack of buzzbaits, adjustable holders in case you have a small buzzbait where the blade won't hit it, magnetic backing to put on the front like a hood ornament on your vehicle. And you're going to be able to roll.
Just tape it up there.
With 6 buzzbaits across the front hood, little chihuahua in the dashboard, head bobbing back and forth, and just roll, man.
You got to watch out because you'll burn right through.
We're working on that right now for you. It's actually seriously being done. There's a prototype model being
So
made.
What's that doing when
the guy making them? He was talking to me about today on the Mine River.
Yeah. So and he's making it for you actually. So I think you'll get it eventually here, Greg. One of these days when you're up here.
I'll take it.
Yeah, but so what is that doing when you're running that fan and you're breaking them in, I guess is what you're saying. What's going on there?
Yeah, so like that process down the basement, I've been doing it for a while. That process where I put them in front of the fan. A common question that I got to, like, how long does it take? Just to answer the question on live. It takes like 2-3 hours to let it run straight. I just keep on letting it run. You literally can walk by it when it gets right, and it sounds different when it's sitting in front of the fan. It goes from just having that normal noise to having that kind of like that squeaky noise instantly. I mean, just by sitting there, you're sitting there, all of a sudden you hear it starts to make noise in front of the fan. And what I'm actually doing there is, and there's other ways to do this. You can take the blade off of these buzz baits, and you can actually drill that hole out of hair more with a drill bit. I don't like doing it that way because of inconsistency, and it just seems like it wears the blades a lot faster when you drill them. So doing it the way that I was doing it is very consistent. It's always going to spin on the same exact axis in front of the fan where I have it at, and it just seems like it breaks them in perfect. When I go to throw that thing, it's like dead on every time. So what I'm doing is on that fan when it's blowing, it's actually going to wobble this hole here a little bit out, but it's going to be a very consistent wobble to where, like, if I was drilling by hand,
Yeah.
I'm going to turn, I'm going to do it this way, or even, the bottom's not going to be the same as the top. It's just really hard to get them consistent if you drill them out. The biggest thing with a buzzbait to make that noise is to have that thing wobbled out just right, oblong, but perfect, controlled to make that noise. I know there's other processes guys do where they take sandpaper and they go on here and on here, and they make a different kind of noise or a little more noise. Great way to do it probably, but I know the way that I do it. It's been working for years. So I'm not,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I have two
Absolutely.
questions, Greg, to follow up on that I think to me are really important parts of my buzzbait tuning.
Yep.
Do you crimp the blade? Do you crimp the rivet?
I do not.
You leave the rivet free spin.
Yep.
Okay. Kind of shatters my whole thing right there.
I'm sorry.
And then that's all right. That's all right, Greg.
I'm gonna tell you what,
Now on the blade, and I don't know if cameraman Nick's going to be able to get this, but there's two kinds of blades, Greg, and I know you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but there's what I call an offset blade.
Yep.
Which means the wire, the tabs that the wire goes through are on one side of the blade.
Yep.
You follow me?
I'm following you.
Can you see that?
Yep.
There you go. Right
Yeah,
there.
you go, right
there. There's the wire on one side.
Okay. Now the other style is the
Through
one tab up, one tab down, and the blade literally goes through the blade, or the wire.
Yeah, through the
blade.
yeah, the wire goes through the blade.
Now, which one do you prefer?
That one right there.
Oh.
Oh, 3-blade.
Yep.
Oh, you're not a slapper. You're not a water slapper, then, are you?
No, I'm gonna tell you the number one secret with a buzzbait, besides doing the fan deal to get it broken just right. Now, I see a lot of guys, oh, my buzzbait don't sound good, and the first thing they reach for is the bend of the blade. Okay. Now, you can cast this thing and hit them and knock them out a little tiny bit, but I would say 99 out of 100 times, you do not want to adjust the bend of the blade. The way it comes is how it should be. The biggest thing, if you A, knock your buzzbait out of whack, or B, if you have your buzzbait and you want it to sound really, really dialed in besides breaking them in, a lot of times in a buzzbait, after you have a fish on and it kind of knocks it out a little tiny bit, a quick way to do it and not adjust it is take your buzzbait, take about maybe 3 or 4 feet of line out from your rod, and spin that thing around until it makes that perfect noise again. That'll kind of realign the buzzbait and get it just right again. Keep doing it until it makes that noise. When it makes that noise, you're like, oh, you ever throw a buzzbait and you feel like you see that cast out there? That's the noise that you want to have on that spin. It'd be a quick break in.
So Mikey,
I like that, Greg.
Mikey.
Yeah.
If you see me back on the deck going like this, I'm just breaking in my buzzbait.
I do it all the time because after you start catching like 10 or 15 fish, you'll start to have some noise changes.
It is funny what you say though.
Yeah, so it's true though. We say it all the time. Me and Sis go. We say it all the time in the morning together. But anyway, so the thing that you want to adjust on your buzzbait on the fly, if you were to have an issue, when a buzzbait doesn't sound right, it's not that it's not broke in properly. It's that right here on the tabs, high or low, one of your tabs got bent a little bit, and it's actually forcing against the shaft of the buzzbait. That's where the problems happen on the buzzbait. It's not right. It's here or here. And a lot of times you can see on the bottom of this one's broken really good. The bottom of this one on the bottom tab there, it's actually slanted, and it's slanted just to the point to where that blade has no contact.
That's
That's the
sounding
biggest
good.
thing with a buzz bait. I never told anybody that, so that's exclusive to you guys at Tackle.
Thank you, Greg.
That's funny because that sound you
Yeah.
just made with that buzz bait, that's actually the ringtone on my iPhone.
Well, I gotta
Wow.
ask GDP a
So
question.
so wait a second. So you're telling me the tab isn't square
Correct.
to the wire, it's kinked a little bit off.
Yep. You want it. You want
And
to.
that's and that's before you start breaking it in. You want to break, you want to make sure that's kinked off a little bit and then break it in.
They're gonna come kinked. out
Oh,
of the
okay.
pack. Most of the ones are gonna come kinked. I'm telling you that
Okay.
when you have an issue on the water,
Yeah.
or if let's say you have a buzz bait out of the package that
Okay.
isn't spinning on top of the water right, isn't pushing water good, isn't making the proper noise.
Yeah.
That's generally where the problem lies. Is right there.
Okay.
It's not the blade bend. You
All
know,
right.
granted, you can get a blade where it can be knocked out.
Yeah.
And you don't ever want to just grab a blade and do it this way. You want to take the palm of your hand, you want to put it on the buzz bait, and you want to kink like this. That'll be a consistent bend that it should have. That's how you should adjust a blade with your
Damn.
palm.
I've been doing it wrong forever.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Doing a lot of stuff wrong forever.
Mike,
if you
I can
grab-
only imagine your buzz bait.
My buzz baits are terrible.
If you grab this blade with
They're
pliers
terrible.
and a small spot on it, you're actually creating more of a problem. It's not consistent. So by palming it and pushing it, it's a little bit hard to do, but like your palm will be consistent on the bend.
Right.
good
I see
stuff.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Greg, we talked about the blade style.
Yep.
The tweaks, the what have you, the breaking it in, the file. Some people file, some people sandpaper. I like to rough things up with a file, the head of the rivet too, and the back of the blade. Kind of accentuate. I do crimp mine, but I might try again. It seems like the biggest thing in the last several years, and I do say several years because it's been several years, is skirt versus a toad.
Now, I'm going to tell you what I know about this.
What's your feeling on that? Because I have some feelings on that also.
I can tell you after fishing Elite Series now for 3 years, it really honestly depends on where you live, what they like, what the fish like. Now, so a buzzbait, I would say with a skirt is probably a 95% hookup ratio with a skirt. It's really good. But when you put that toad on the back, it almost goes to 100% because when that bass is sucking, it's got all that plastic to actually suck in versus a skirt that's just basically a hook that's down there. So I prefer throwing a skirt because it's where I live and it's what I kind of grew up doing. Okay. Now, when you go down south, like let's say you go down to like Louisiana or something, them guys don't even own a buzzbait with a skirt on it.
10-4.
They don't. It's a toad or some kind of thing. Now, the big advantage of having the plastic, obviously, is you can skip it really well.
I was just going to say that.
That's the big advantage of having plastic. That's if I can do it myself, I'm going to use a skirt with just a trailer hook. That's generally just all I ever throw. I own 2 colors, black and white. Okay. Now,
what's your number one color?
Black, hands down. Period. It's more of a silhouette thing. It's usually a low light deal when you're throwing a buzzbait most of the time. Unless you're on a river system, I don't care if it's 110 degrees. They will bite a buzzbait on a river from start to finish all the time.
George.
Yeah.
Main river.
Oh, that's a 10-4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, I grew up on a river system. I everywhere I've been in the country, it works from, like I said, 50 degrees on all the way through 100-degree water temp. They just eat it really well. We can get into time of the year when it really shines, obviously, but there's only 2 buzz baits that I own. My buddy's custom one that he makes. Now, this is an old school one that I don't think it's made anymore, but this is an original Booger Man.
Yeah.
So,
We got some substitutes for that now. But
fish,
Booger
right?
Man, it was such a tragedy when that company stopped making buzz baits.
Yeah, I think
that was a great buzz bait, Greg. I mean, that was pretty much, you have a great buzz bait brand when that's all you'll ever even pick up.
Yep.
And everybody and their brother is tracking it down like the lost art.
And why do you like that one?
So there's other obviously clacker style that sell the clacker on the actual shaft here that hang down, but
Yeah.
For some reason, it seems like if they're not on one, they're on a clacker. And
Mhm.
and if you're a buzzbait guy and you're getting into buzzbait fishing, you literally have to own both of them, because there's been days where day one I caught them really good on this style, and then
Mhm.
day two I couldn't even react to it, and I pick up the clacker style that's more annoying and they
Yeah.
crush it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's been so many times, especially in the fall more than ever. I can tell you that the different buzzbait sounds make a big difference more than ever. The fall,
Yeah, the smallmouth will get on that clacker style real hard too.
I bet they do.
Now, Greenfish Tackle, Greg.
Yep.
You know the guys at Greenfish, right?
I do, and I actually have the greenfish ones because they were the ones that I believe
Yes.
took over the mold. Correct.
Yeah, that's a booger man.
Yep.
I mean, they call it the hammerhead. I fished boogerman buzzbait since there was a boogerman buzzbait.
Yep.
And that is a boogerman buzzbait. And you know, those guys at Greenfish, their attention to detail and quality is second to none with
Mhm.
every product they make. And this buzzbait, to kind of go along with what you're saying.
And what they're and what
what
we're
I like is you can tune it up.
yeah,
You can
what we're talking
make
about.
it quieter, or you can make it louder.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at here. You know,
And this
is
one needs some of the Greg.
go ahead and
DePalma
go
fan
over that
treatment.
then. Go ahead and go over that.
So this needs a little bit of the Greg DePalma fan treatment, because this buzzbait gets best when the blade beats the head hard enough to cause a little bit of a wear in the lead. And what you're doing is you're slowly but surely bending your blade arm down, okay, until you're getting that
getting
knock.
that little knock.
But what you really want is that lead to dig into that head a little bit and kind of V it a little bit.
Yep.
Then you are getting into the zone.
Yeah.
Here's
You can hear that.
Might
here's
change
one
my
that's
ringtone.
used right here. You can see what George is talking about. So you can see.
Yeah.
It's actually
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? That's well worn, Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
been plenty of fish caught on this
Oh,
one.
that's well
Bring
worn
that,
there.
Bring that particular one with you the next time we go fishing.
Keep going to the archives.
I'll be copping that. See you tomorrow on the Mine River, Greggy.
Yeah.
Now, do you use a trailer hook on all your buzzbaits?
I do. In tournament situations, yes, I always do. Open water, I turn the trailer hook the opposite way, so it's facing down, so they get it really good every time. But most of the time, I'm throwing that thing over top of trees and stuff, so I always have it covered up, kind of.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. 3/8, quarter, 3/8, or half.
I throw 3/8 probably more than anything, but I do own all the sizes. Now, I don't know any other companies that really do this. Let me see if I got them sitting here. I didn't bring them all up with me. I have a lot of buzzbaits.
Yeah. I like that.
So here's an older one. Now, my buddy does this for me, and like I said, I don't know if anybody sells this style buzzbait. So you have your traditional smaller one, that everybody throws. And then you have your next size up, which is the bigger size. So what I had him do was take the big blade and put it on the small body.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if does anybody sell that?
I don't think so. I think you have to customize that, which I've done in the past.
Okay, so the big advantage of that is it's a light body, big blade, which means I can fish it a lot slower
Right.
than I would fish some other two buzzbaits.
Right.
And where that seems to really shine a lot of times is post spawner being annoying, but a lot of times when in the summertime or late spring you get them big rainfalls and everything gets really muddied up, I can really crawl this buzzbait to allow them fish to really locate that thing because I can slow it down that much more.
Mm.
So that's a really good little
Nice.
tip that I do around here. It's where I first kind of started doing it at. And
That's a nice trick, Mike. That's something I know you use.
Yeah, I've done that in the past. We used to throw one, and it was the cheapest damn buzzbait in the world. And you know that, Greg. That sometimes those are the greatest ones.
that's all these are.
And-
for cheap.
And me and George used to buy this one. It was a 1/4 ounce, and it was made by Danny Joe Humphreys down in North Carolina or something like
Yeah,
that. And it was the crappiest freaking thing. But
sounded good.
the wire, I don't know, it was something with the wire. And we caught I caught one of my personal best topwater fish ever down to Potomac down there. I had like a 7-1 on that buzzbait.
Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah, it was but
We violated like 9
They did-
outdoor laws in the process, but I mean, he still caught the fish.
I got him.
Whatever it
I
takes.
got him.
He had the
So,
entire Maryland Waterfowl Association ready to storm his ship.
but you could buy them for like $2 a piece, you know, and the hook was kind of crappy. You got to, you had to have a really good quality trailer hook on there. But I remember me, fishing and these baits coming apart, and I was building stuff, and then I started putting that bigger blade on that little 1/4 ounce, man.
3/8.
A 1/4 ounce.
Oh wow.
That's even smaller. That's tiny.
1/4 ounce, bro.
Oh,
Wow.
It wasn't the 3/8 ounce blade. It was like the next size up blade from what this guy was. So yeah, I guess it was a 3/8 ounce blade.
3/8 ounce.
Yeah, it was the bigger size blade. And I'm telling you, man, that thing, you hardly had to turn the handle, and it was up on top.
Yeah, that's money.
Yeah,
But
it was,
that's a good point, Mike. I do own another buzzbait. So Strike King sells that small one. I guess it's a 1/4. I guess it would be. That would
Yeah.
or maybe even 1/8 it is, I think.
yeah.
That little buzzbait, a lot of times for smallmouth or largemouth, that thing's a sleeper.
Yeah.
That's a must-have in your tackle box. I know that you guys sell them the store. I think don't you that small tiny buzzbait?
Yeah, there's a couple of them, Greg. Hog Caller actually sells a little 1/8 ounce buzzbait that's really high quality that comes into play in those tough bite circumstances.
That must be it. Must be
And there's a couple other little 1/8 ounce buzzbaits that we sell that like they don't play often, but when they play, they play.
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And the thing about them too, like that little tiny one, a lot of times I'll throw that thing on a spinning rod. It just seems to be just right for it.
Yeah. I almost want to say that other than a spinner bait, the buzz bait is probably one of the most tweaked baits out there.
It's very tweaked, and I still think a lot of guys are not throwing it.
I agree, Greg.
No, they're not.
I think you're right too.
They're not.
I think the chatterbait replaced the spinnerbait, the whopper plopper replaced the buzzbait. Not necessarily, but accepting grass.
I guarantee you guys are throwing the whopper plopper instead of a buzz bait all the time now.
Yeah.
And when you look at other fisheries, and for example, I have never been there, and I'd like to go there, but I follow a lot of the tournaments on lacrosse, and they catch a lot of smallmouth there on a buzzbait, not largemouth, but smallmouth. And around here on our river,
We smoke them on a buzz bait.
we have phenomenal smallmouth fishing on a buzzbait.
Yep.
And we don't have to go to a small buzzbait. I fish a 3/8 ounce. Well, I used to fish a booger, man. Now I fish the greenfish hammerhead, 3/8 ounce hammerhead. The only thing that I learned, and I've shared this on Tackle Shop Live before, and I've talked with customers numerous times one-to-one. The one little tweak that I've learned that has paid dividends time in and time out on smallies is taking the skirt off and replacing it with a Zoom Super Fluke.
I like it.
Yeah.
Smallmouth. Now, I don't know about largemouth. I've never really had that be a deciding factor, but I've had situations, and interestingly enough, the way I learned this trick was I was on a wicked smallmouth bite on a buzz bait. They were ripping the skirt off the bait.
I think the bait bands were rotted off.
Well, no, they were ripping the skirt off, and I was fixing it. And then I'd short strike me again, and I'd fix it. And I thought, the third time he ripped the freaking skirt off, I just happened to look down. There was a fluke laying on the floor of the boat. I put that fluke on, and they just ate it. And I just been going with it most of the time ever since. And it flat out works on smallmouth. So,
I bet.
if you're on one of those smallmouth fisheries,
Got a question here from
try it.
Bruce Millard here, Greg, and he wants to know if you use inline buzz baits at all, or have you?
I haven't actually. I never even tried one. I know what they are, but I'd never tried them.
Yeah, I'd never thrown. Well, I think George, back in the very early infancy of our bass fishing career down in Florida, George threw a inline. Remember that inline buzz bait, George?
I don't really like to talk about it.
You were I think George was like 15 when he threw it.
Yeah, the guys left.
Mike, I've been trend setting for many, many years. Okay, so from 15 to 58, just fall in line, son, because it's about to go down.
I would say Bruce is probably from Pennsylvania, last name Miller, but throwing an inline I do know is very, very big in South Carolina.
Ah,
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I never threw one. I don't really know,
Interesting.
you know, what it's all about, but I seen George throw it.
Yeah.
He caught some fish on it. I think they were mudfish at the time.
Mudfish, bass, it don't matter to me.
Yeah.
So, Greg, there's a lot of resurgence in buzzbait here lately. And the biggest thing is the skipping of the buzzbait. And I know you're a very good, I fished with you, you're a very good skipper. And you know, when you put a toad on a buzzbait, be honest with you, everybody's a good skipper.
Yeah.
Because it really skips well.
Yep.
And I mean, to the point where Strike King now has a tour grade skip and buzz. And what I like about this thing is it has a lot of the right features on it, but it's got a little like support wire to keep the wire from opening up when you're skipping. Because one thing you notice, you know, when you're skipping that bait hard and hitting dock pilings and stuff, you're kind of knocking your buzzbait out of tune in the process. So I don't know if this is a big deal or not, but I thought I'd point it out because it's pretty interesting. Another thing that's interesting with it, their rivets crimped.
I knew George was going to bring up the crimped rivet
Because I'm all about that crimped rivet.
Yeah. You know, a lot of guys are really about that crimp and rivet, to be honest with you. I just never really crimped them. So it always worked non-crimped. That's why I'm the way I am.
Yeah, I found that very interesting.
Yeah. And I believe also too, George, I think Greenfish sells a Brandon Cobb toter, I believe.
They do. They do. So basically it would be and this is going to be a Dirty Jigs version of it. If you can zoom in here, cameraman Nick. Basically, it's basically just a raw lead head that's designed to really hold the toad in place.
Yep.
So, I mean, really, the deal is take a minute, put that bait, that trailer, that toad on there nice and straight because it's not coming off for a while.
Yep.
And that's a really nice, that has that wire diameter that Greg's talking about, that in between.
Yep.
You know, it's not, 32 is real light. 38 is kind of right where he's talking. 40 is real heavy. So this has got that like that 38 wire.
Yeah.
Maybe even 36.
Yeah, it's don't quote me. It's 30 something. I do know that guys are probably laughing. They probably know exactly what it is, but it's that in betweener that's definitely makes a big difference. I know.
Yeah, 40 is real heavy. So it's definitely, you're definitely under 40.
Yeah, it's under 40. I know it's in the 30s.
Yeah.
I do know that.
So another question we have here, Greg, is what about a double buzzer?
I've tried them. They are extremely loud and move a lot of water. I just always went back to the same buzzbait after all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they all work. The good thing about a double buzz, you can crawl them also. You can wind them super slow and they stay on top of the water. And like I said, they move a lot of water.
Okay. Yep.
I don't have one here, but we sell the Greenfish Shark. And it's kind of like the Accent brand of buzzbaits. It's a double buzz. I didn't grab one. They're hanging back there. But they got little floaters on the back behind the blade. So you can actually stop the buzzbait and it'll float in the water like this.
That's pretty cool.
So you can really
creep it.
can really creep it.
Where did we sell all them to, George? Remember when Accent had it?
Oh man, we sold the heck
Yeah,
out
but
of
where were we sent?
Tidal Water guys.
Yeah, it was Tidal Water guys down in like in North Carolina on those Tidal Waters down there. We sold truckloads of them things to those guys down there. And that's what they wanted. They wanted those little floaters, I guess, to fish them real slow. I don't know. I never really did.
The other thing you can do with double blades is you can tune them to hit together by bending them together.
There's one right there.
Yeah, well, this one here's a little Picasso here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shark. That's a Greenfish Shark.
Yeah, you can see the little floats on the back of that. Very interesting buzzbait.
It's bad to the bone.
That's pretty neat. It's got kind of a flat head to it too.
Yeah.
You can crawl it along. Yep.
Hey, Greg, it's Nick here. Hey, thanks for coming on the show. I'm telling you what, our viewers are going to have to watch this thing 15 times to take all the information that you left us here. Yeah. But that double buzzbait there, I always tell people that are just getting into buzzbaits, that's a good one to throw because of how fast it does start turning. Mm-hmm. You know, it really does help.
Puts it right on the surface.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that's the truth. And the other thing about these shows, Greg, is we put these out as a podcast. So, for our listeners here who are, um, listen to this and there's all this information flying out there. You can go on to any of your podcast destinations and you can download our show, Tackle Shop Live, and you can listen to it while you're driving around and just kind of catch up and catch the things that you missed. And I know guys who watch it and then they listen to it and they pick up so much more stuff while they're out there. So that's another thing we do with our live show is we put it as a podcast. So you can even listen to it, Greg, while you're driving on all those thousands of miles of road trips. If anything, you get a good laugh out of it.
I'm on every time. Every time I have to watch this, I'm on talking about every time.
I know. You're always checking in, so we appreciate it. We appreciate you big time. So when you say that the two colors that you throw are white and black, and that's it, you don't get to a bluegill color or anything other than that.
No, I keep it pretty simple. I really do. I mean, when do I throw white a lot? Shad spawn, or maybe in the fall.
Okay.
Smallies too.
Silver blade?
Generally silver. I do know a lot of river guys do like black blades in the river systems.
Amen.
Now,
Like black blade, black skirt, or
yeah,
like
black on black. Yep.
Yep.
Now,
So
go ahead.
you got those blades that are black, you got those blades that are white. You got gold blades and you got silver blades. That's kind of the four.
Red blades and purple blades,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
and
chartreuse blades.
blades.
And chartreuse blades. Okay.
Right here, chartreuse blades.
Yeah.
My selection's either gold or silver for blades.
Okay.
Most of the time.
No
Now-
black blade, huh?
No, I'm not. I catch them so good on the silver most of the time that maybe it's a confidence thing.
It is a confidence
I'm
thing.
a silver guy too.
and I like it. I like it a lot.
Now, one thing we didn't say either. So on a buzz bait, you can do a straight blade, a left, or a right hand. So I'm probably saying it backwards, but when I had mine built, I told him when I reel them in, I want them to go to the left. So what that means is when you're winding this buzz bait, you can have some that drive left, or have some that drive right, or some that drive straight.
Oh yeah.
So
I always
How-
tune mine to do that.
Well, how do
Yeah,
you do that?
so
left, right.
well, for me that I know of, the blade design will be opposite. So if
Ah.
it's going to go the other way, then blades are going to be the opposite way as far as the way they're facing now.
Oh yeah.
So for me, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I'm reeling that buzz bait. I want mine always to go to the left, because the reason that is when I throw that cast out there, I always try to work down a shoreline to where my right shoulder is facing ahead. So that means that when I throw that buzz bait way out in front of me and I'm fishing laydowns or docks, I can literally drive that buzz bait right to the bank by reeling it.
Mm.
That makes sense. You can drive a buzz
Yes.
bait by turning it.
Yes.
So whenever I can have this thing contact, not only just the top of the water, but contact the cover that I'm fishing, you can draw some more strikes that way too. So I always have my buzz baits going to the left. I always want left-handed blades.
I like it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they had them different
Yeah, they do.
ways.
Look them up. They sell standard
Wow.
left or right.
Cool.
Yep. So, and the other
Must
thing
have
is
been fishing
too.
the backwards ones.
Well, you said something there. So is it all the time you try to set up with that shoulder that way?
I do. The video that I posted the other day is a prime example. For
Yeah.
me, the way that I set the hook, it just makes more sense.
Right.
Makes more sense on hook set, and it makes more sense because when I'm flipping and pitching, I just prefer to be looking out the left side of the boat if I can control it.
So you'll run past your spot if you have to get to that angle.
Yep.
Okay.
It just for me, you got to find out what works for you. I know it
I-
works for me because I've been doing this for years.
I hate the backwards hook set, man. I hate it.
Yeah, it's
Cannot
tough.
stand it.
Everything, a crankbait, a chatterbait, a buzzbait,
Yeah.
backwards hook set. A lot of times when them fish are the way they're biting, if they're not biting it good, you're not going to hook in them or whatever. You got to have it set up to where
Yes.
you want to put the percentages in your favor. So that's the way I do what I'm doing.
I just kind of pull up on a spot and start fishing, and I always get backwards, man. And I'm like,
Well, I mean,
yeah, you do one of these hook sets that are that way, and you don't have the power, you don't have the control. Then you have to flip the rod over like that, and that's when you lose them, right?
Yep, you do. And
When
you
you're
know,
flipping over.
That
doing the flip over. It's terrible.
I'm telling you, dude, that little nugget right there, you could do a show on, because the setup is so critical, whether you're fishing a dock, a lay down, or the angle that you're cranking an offshore rock pile.
Yep.
That setup, the way you approach that spot and the angle that you attack that spot is, I mean, it's something that most fishermen do not give any consideration to. They're just going down the bank fishing, which we all do. We just like, hey, this looks great. Let's just keep going down this bank. But when you get to that prime target, you know, you need to set that boat up correctly for that angle. That's a key nugget.
Great point,
right
Greg. Great point.
One more thing, and especially with buzzbait fishing, what do you always say? Man, I wasn't even looking and he smoked it. So guys look away when they throw a buzzbait. You probably hear that a lot.
Yeah.
They look at it because they don't want to jump the gun. But that goes into what I just said. Like, if I'm going down the bank to where I like it, how I set up, if I'm not looking and that thing smokes it, I know that I'm in position no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome information.
Like we talked about rivets, blades, wires, hooks, every aspect of a buzzbait, skirts, no skirts,
yeah.
Even down to the angle of the setup. But we didn't talk about the setup.
Right.
That's
Right.
And you know,
So
before we let our good friend Greg slide off the phone here,
now we gotta know.
we need to talk about the setup.
What is your main
And I think there's a great conversation.
buzzbait
Yeah.
combo? Now, when we say that, it's going to be line, rod, and reel. What is it? What is your go-to?
Now I'm going to tell you this: the most important thing about a buzzbait isn't your rod. It's choosing the proper line. Now, look at George, we're on the same wavelength. So here's the deal. I'll tell you the rod that I use, but this is why line is so darn important. When I first started buzzbait fishing, and I'm going back years ago, I started out throwing monofilament. And there was a lot of times where I did lose a lot of fish. And then once the braid kick got real big, I went to braided line. And I still continued to lose a lot of fish. So then I got to thinking about it. I was like, you know what, man? What's the in-between between mono and braid? And that's fluorocarbon. Okay. Fluorocarbon gives you literally, I feel like, and I'm talking a normal scenario, you're fishing laydowns, maybe scattered pads over top of vegetation. Fluorocarbon does a few things. Fluorocarbon, number one, fluorocarbon has stretch, but nowhere is near what the monofilament has. And braid, on the other scale, has too much pulling power, but only for certain scenarios. Now, fluorocarbon does sink, yes, but when you're doing a consistent reel, the fluorocarbon weight doesn't make a difference.
Right.
Now, what the fluorocarbon does, when this bass comes up and eats this thing, the fluorocarbon has just enough stretch to allow that bass to inhale this thing. Where if I was in an open water situation, I was throwing braid with zero stretch, he'd bite this thing and I'd rip it right out of his mouth. So fluorocarbon, hands down, is the best, you know, a little bit of cover, open water scenario line you can throw, period. Now I throw generally only one line size. I throw 20-pound, 100% fluorocarbon from High Seas. That's the one that I've been throwing now for freaking years, and it gets them. I mean, it allows them fish to suck this thing down and get them every time. I don't throw mono anymore at all. Mono does float. Mono just has way too much stretch for me. I lost too many fish over the years. Now, granted, I think mono has probably caught me a few fish in certain scenarios because, like, it really allowed the fish to get it when he didn't want to bite, let's say post spawn, when they're just, you know, calling them up more or less when you're throwing the buzzbait.
Yeah.
Now, when do I throw braid? I still do throw braided line. I throw braided line a lot of times in the thick padded area, you know, spatter dock, when they're just above the surface and you're crawling this thing underneath them all and you're pulling it through. I do need that ripping power because the fluorocarbon is not enough. Now, out on the flats, a lot of times when that vegetation is just about to crown, or I'm kind of driving that buzzbait around sections of gorilla hair or black death that's out there, that's when I will every time go to a braided line, because generally in the summertime, when you're throwing a buzz bait around vegetation, it's not so much the matter of them getting it, because that time of the year,
They're
the water's
smoking
in the 80s, the fish are very, very active, and they know what they're doing when it comes to biting things. So around the vegetation, that's when I'm going to throw a braid. I throw 40-pound test, I would say, across the board. 40-pound allows you to cast that thing a mile, but it still has plenty of backbone no matter what you're fishing around. It still has plenty of cutting power. You could probably go down to a 30 and maybe as high as a 50 if you had to push it a little bit.
50.
Now, when it comes to the rod, there's a few really key important factors. Number one, you want to throw the fastest reel you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
For me, it's an 8-1 to 1. I throw a Chronarch, an XG. That's probably the most consistent one that I throw. It's a light reel. It's got plenty of line, still a 150 size spool. Whether I'm doing the braid or doing the fluorocarbon. So that's super important. Whatever company reel you guys are throwing, just make sure your 7s or higher gear ratio, because a lot of times on a fight on a buzzbait, it's a very violent fight, very aggressive bite. So you want to make sure you got enough reel to take all that line up. That's a big time thing, trust me. And not only that, taking a line up, but it's, let's say one does bite you and you're kind of out of, good hook shot range, and you get into them a little bit, that reel can bring you right back down on top of them. Now, when it comes to fishing the Black Death, I put a video out last year, and this is a really good point. When it comes to fishing the Black Death, it's gorilla hair. It's got a lot of different names. I don't know the actual scientific name of this stuff, but
algae.
Yeah, let's say the thick algae the fish live in that time of the year.
I call it felt.
Felt. So when they're in that felt, this is what you want. This is what you want to do. So
when they be up in the felt spawning on the Martin River.
So let's say you're fishing the felt, and you consistently got to hop this buzz bait. And I say hop it, I mean physically pull it and hop it. So I don't pull with the rod, I pull with a fast reel. A buzz bait has enough lift to it that where if you crank that reel super fast, really hard, it's going to jump it. So a lot of times when I'm fishing the felt or Black Death, when I'm getting to the cover, I'm going to reel, then I'm reel really fast, and the blade and the body will allow it to slide right over top or hop it even a little tiny bit. If you guys go on my YouTube, you'll see a video on this.
Yes, I saw it. That was great. That's a great video.
Yeah, and that's a way. A lot of times when you hop that buzz bait or speed it over top of that, that's when they're going to engulf it. It just lands right where they're sitting at the ambush. It's a great way to catch them.
You smoked some nice fish in that video too.
Yeah, they're all South Jersey fishing. I mean, I do that a lot.
Yeah.
That's the cool part about a buzz bait. It catches big fish. It catches a lot of fish, but it catches big fish more than anything.
Yeah.
Rod wise,
that's very true.
Yeah, rod wise, it's always been for the last freaking 7 years. It's a 7'2" heavy Zodius. I throw the heavy because, like I said, when you're throwing that fluorocarbon or even around some cover, it's a perfect rod, a perfect blend of power to sink that hook past the barb every single time. It seems like it allows them to get it really good, but it has a lot of power to get them up and out.
That's a unique action on that rod too. It's a heavy, but it has a tip where you can cast it. You have a little bit of tip where you can cast, get some distance out of it, but it's freaking loaded with power. Unbelievable.
Yeah. The Zodius, out of the whole lineup, I have more Zodius than anything. Mike and George know this.
Yeah.
It fits me really well. It's a rod that it's really different than as company wise. Shimano's on a totally different level as far as even their actions are just different. They're just a different rod, and certain ones really seem to stand out for certain scenarios. And for the buzzbait, that's 7'2" heavy. If you're in the market for a buzzbait rod, I promise you, it's the best rod you've ever put your hands on. They went to that monocoque handle a little bit ago. I think that was a big improvement as far as just a rod in general. And it really seems like too, where a buzzbait where you're winding consistently, it's just more butt on your arm. It just has more leverage power, which I like. Besides that, there's if you want to add to the rod reel line at all, or pretty much got it what you guys are looking
Well, if there's other reasons to throw another type of rod, what would it be?
Round docks, where you got to go a little bit smaller. They just introduced a 7-foot medium heavy to the lineup. I guess it was probably 2 years ago. It's a great rod for that. 7 foot versus 2 inches on a fishing rod is huge. It's like buying a John boat. If you buy a frickin'
2 inches is huge anytime, bro.
I agree. This is true. But if you're looking for accuracy, where you're doing a lot more close calls, that's where I drop down to that medium heavy. Like I said, that 7 foot, because the medium heavy in a close scenario, 20, 30 feet cast is still plenty of power if you're skipping underneath the dock to get that fish hooked up really well. And then the shorter rod for better accuracy, obviously. Same
Yeah.
reel, no difference in a reel, and no difference in a line most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I got to attest to it because I fished with Greg a couple times, and when I show up with Greg, I don't show up with anything. I just fish all his stuff. And
you got a Texas tackle bag usually.
I usually have a Texas tackle bag, but what was really neat was how many 8-to-1 reels he has.
Almost all of them.
I mean,
I have a truckload of them.
And I always had a bad vibe about 8-to-1 reels. It's too fast. It's gonna, makes you overpower this and overpower that. But there, the thing about an 8-to-1, which I learned, especially fishing with Greg, you can control it very, very easily.
You can,
because a lot of the stuff, it's visible. You're feeling it. You can slow down, and so I'm really changing my mind on that since the last couple of years. Me and you've been fishing together.
Yeah. Now the only other difference that I would do, brings to the point of where if I'm, fishing around docks and I'm skipping the buzzbait, I do go to a 70 size reel. It's a smaller, so the Chronarcher is about that tall on top of the rod, and the 70 probably squishes down to about that size. So when you're doing a lot of hand movements, the 70 seems to help. Plenty of power. It's still got a good size handle on it. You don't need a bigger spool because you're only casting close, but the 70 seems to help. And just off topic, the 70 is probably one of the best chatterbait reels I've ever used.
Agreed.
Period.
Agreed.
Skips real well too.
I got a question from the audience here.
What do you got, bro?
Dick Powers wants to know. He said, "Ask Greg about bending the wire down to get the bait lower in the water when bass aren't wanting you to come all the way to the top." So I guess he wants to know if you bend the wire and run it slightly subsurface and the bass don't want to come to the top.
There has been very few times to where getting the buzzbait kind of streamlined with the surface, and the only thing that I do different is I really slow my retrieve down. But it's very rare that a buzzbait is a very good drawing tool, and with drawing tools, you also need vibration, but you need sound, and that's why the buzzbait is so big. But what he's saying, if it's like a weird day where the clouds are super low and maybe the minis and stuff are just below the surface, like I said, there's been a few times where I had to crawl a buzzbait really slow, where that blade's going floop, floop. I mean, it's just below the surface, so I can see what he's kind of saying. But for me, it's just a retrieve thing to get it down.
So what they're talking about there, Greg, is, and you've seen this on buzzbaits before, where they'll come in right about here, bend this wire down at a hard 45-degree angle, and then grab it down here and bend it flat.
Yep.
So now in essence, the blade and the head are sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that's subsurface or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it looks like it sits lower in the water when you fish them like that. I have bent some like that already in the past. And that's kind of a thing.
I agree with Greg though. It's a attracting lure anyway.
They're going to come up and eat,
and they're going to they're going to. And I wonder half the time if
there ain't no timid bite.
No, they freaking smack. Well, that 7-1 I caught, bro.
The big one.
Did he lick it?
He licked that thing.
Like
he opened up the water.
Oh,
because
I saw Bill McDermott.
He opened up the water and sucked it in. It wasn't. I honestly thought it was. I don't even know. I thought it was a needlefish.
Well, it's because he was in an off limits area and he didn't want to get caught.
It wasn't off limits. It wasn't off limits. What he's trying to tell, what he's saying is, I was out there fishing, right, and I caught it in practice actually, in a cove which everybody fishes. Everybody always fishes there. Bomb Point in the Mattawoman. And the next day I went in there. It was a Saturday, and it was the opening day of some kind of crazy ass early season goose season, and nobody knew anything about it other than the 50 signs posted on the board at the ramp. But
100 goose hunters.
But when we launched, Greg, honestly, for my 2 cents, when you launch in the morning, what is it? It's freaking pitch black. You can't read that board. There's nothing there. So We launched and we ran over there first thing in the morning, and I'm throwing this buzzbait, hoping this 7-pounder would come back and eat it. And here comes these beautiful geese and coming flying over. And I'm like, oh, look at the pretty geese. And they come over, and all of a sudden this freaking hatch flies open on the island.
Oh God.
And these freaking guys come out there and they start wailing at these geese. And I'm telling you, they went right over our head, and the wads were landing in my boat. The wads were landing in my boat. So I hit the
You're
dirt.
too close, Mike.
The shooting stops. I come up out of there starting to scream, and then I realized they have the guns and I don't. And,
And you have a buzz bait.
and I'm like, what the hell's going on? They're like 500 yards, you dumbass. And I'm like, for what? What the hell's going on? It's goose season. And I'm like, oh shit. So then I had to move, man. That was terrible. Didn't catch a 7-pounder that day, Greg.
No, you didn't.
Lost the tournament. Didn't even come close. Terrible day.
Happens.
Scared to death after that. I just threw my mind.
Yeah, I think there's some key things we need to talk about before I get out of here too, though.
Oh,
So-
you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, so good.
Pasta.
A pasta. So a buzz bait does shine certain times of the year better than just most of the year. I would say, if you're new to buzz bait fishing, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 times a year where you absolutely have to be throwing a buzz bait. Okay. Now, I'm gonna say pre-spawn is a must, and I don't think many guys are doing it.
I knew it.
And then this is where the half comes in. It's hard to say it's the most important time of year, but the post spawn is top water across the board works. Certain places the buzzbait will outfish Pop R style, Zara Spook style. You just got to test your waters. But the reason I say half is because a lot of times in the country, the shad spawn seems to be the same time post spawn as a lot of places. Okay. So you got pre-spawn. I'm going to put post-spawn and shad spawn together a lot because they're always relatively close to the same time of year. Now, the only other argument I'd have would be, is this time of year better than the post-spawn? It could be, and that's the fall. If you're not throwing a buzz bait in the fall, you're not a bass fisherman. You have to throw a buzz bait in the fall. It draws strikes that on the days where you don't even think a bass lives in them lakes. And a lot of times it's going to be them 4 to 5 to 6 pound bass that are going to bite this thing. Kind of going into what Mikey said a little bit ago, the bigger bass that are slurping on this thing, more or less are snipering that buzz bait. Like they know it's coming through and they just suck it down. It's just literally inhale the gills. And that's all it is. And
It's amazing.
It really is. Your small bass whack it and make noise.
Yeah.
1 to 3 pounders make all the noise. Anything bigger than that, that's all you really get out of it.
Yeah.
Especially
it's amazing.
in that scenario, any kind of vegetation. So I would say the 3 times a year is pre-spawn, post-spawn, shad spawn if you have one, and the fall without a doubt. And like I said a little bit ago, for me, that's when that clacker really shines, or any kind of head knocking style is that fall, because I believe the fish are really feeding. That time of year, the bait are really wadded up, and when bait's wadded up, bait makes a lot of noise underneath the water when they're all swimming together. So that's kind of why I think the clacker style does shine in the fall more than ever.
So Greg, and I don't know if we want to ask this question or not yet, but like you said, the buzzbait is great for locating fish.
Yep.
When you have a fish that short strikes it or blows up behind it, or maybe they lick on it, as Bill McDermott made the comment earlier, or maybe they just eat it, spit it out. I mean, the buzzbait, sometimes they blow up way behind it. Do you just reel it in, chuck it out again, or do you use a different follow-up technique? Or like talk to us about, does the time of year depend?
Great question. So
It is a great question.
I can count on one hand how many fish have came back and bit the buzzbait after I threw back in with the buzzbait again. They usually don't follow up on a buzzbait. Now, this is kind of funny, but like years ago when I first started getting into buzzbait fishing, and I realized that you can throw something behind it and catch them again, I used to throw a banjo minnow in there and catch them every time. I just saw the banjo minnow is back, so you guys better start carrying that.
Oh my God.
A great follow-up, there's 2. And I can say these 2 is probably really all you need. I know the old school guys would follow up with a spinnerbait a lot of times too. It's not really what I ever did. You can never go wrong with a Senko, and you can never go wrong with a fluke. Yeah. They're the 2 that I can guarantee you when that thing smokes that thing and misses it, you'll almost have like a 99 percentile of catching them fish with a It can be green pumpkin. It doesn't matter what color it is. It's just when them fish blow up on that thing and they miss it, they're doing this. They're looking. So if I'm on a good buzzbait bite, I always have a Senko hanging over the side of my boat, ready to be grabbed and ready to be thrown right back in there again. Like I said, I know a lot of guys will follow up with fluke, but I just think it's more or less let's kill it and get it I call it seeing red. When a fish sees red, I don't think it really matters what you throw in there, but a Senko's got a great hookup ratio, and that's why I choose it.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool because, you know, and there again, that's with your setup. See, again, with your setup, you're going buzzbait fishing. You know, there's going to be some blow ups. You know, you're going to miss a couple fish, and you're set up with your other follow up bait ready to go, and you're not digging like I am.
No, I got it ready.
Digging for that rod and
if you
God,
guys,
son of a bitch, what the? I missed them.
If you guys are team tournament guys, and let's say the guy in the front of the boat's throwing a buzzbait, the guy in the back of the boat, me and my buddy Sims did this for years, and we've won tournaments because of doing this.
Yeah.
The guy in the back of the boat is the go-to guy. If that guy in the front swings and misses, whatever you're throwing in the back, if you've got a Senko or if you have even a beaver style bait, don't even hesitate. Just throw instantly to the boil. You'll catch them fish almost every single time, especially in a team tournament situation, because you're so much more accurate, so much faster than you can be as a bass guy. I got to reel that thing all the way in, get it out of the water, and then I got to go down and grab the other rod and fire it in there.
Right. That gives that fish a chance to calm down a little bit, and instead of be right in that hot moment.
He's not seeing red. He may not be seeing red then. He might be seeing like pink or.
So you want to hear a little story real quick off topic?
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I have the video. I didn't share it because there's some cussing that goes on in the video on social media. Maybe I'll blur it up with some overlay, but I'm on Chickamauga. It's day one, and the fish, it was like that 10 o'clock hour. They were just going shallow. They were just instantly like the light switch. They were on the bank. Well, I'm burning down this back slough. It's really shallow. I'll text you guys the video, but it's real shallow. I'm flipping a lay down, and I look over and I see a green glow, and there's a giant sitting there. And at the time, I was like, "That's a 3-pounder." Like it was just glowing green. I can just see it. So I instantly reel my jig and I flip my jig right to it, and it goes right on top of it instantly. And I'm like, "Oh crap!" He sucks it in. I set the hook, and it comes flying out. He never bit down hard. He just picked it up. Well, meanwhile, when my jig flies out, this bass literally does like a bull and does a 180 and does a giant dust cloud like a carp does when he takes off. I mean, it was just a big dust cloud. I was like, holy crap. Well, I flip in there and I see the bass like literally going with its head. He is looking for the jig. It was unbelievable. It was one of the craziest catches I've ever had. He's looking all around. I flip in there. It's all cloudy. And then all of a sudden, there's a little bit of a clearing of clean water. I reel my jig back in. I throw right to the clearing. He goes right down on it. Dude, he goes, and he just sucks it up. So when he sucked it up, I allowed him to swim. And when he turned to the side and went away, I kind of did a side hook set into him. So I knew that I was going to dig it out of his face.
Holy cow.
6-pound bass.
Wow.
But it was just one of the most epic catches because, like, I never truly saw a bass that was, like, so frantic trying to find that crayfish. Like, the head was going like that. It was so wild looking.
Wow.
Like a small clearing. And
wow.
It just was, like, perfect.
That's an awesome catch.
I'll send you guys the video. It's like a minute long.
You know what? It's really cool to see that.
Yep.
I would love to see that video.
I'm going to send it to you right after this.
That is so cool.
Yeah, just don't play it on air a lot of customs because we were, like, yelling.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Well, Greg De Palma, I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I know your pasta's probably, you know how you throw it on the you're supposed to test it on the wall.
El Dante.
It'll splat on the wall now. Come on, terrible. So
so
we gotta let you get you something to eat. Listen, bro.
You pull your pasta out of the water real quick. This is what you do. So if you have pasta that's going to sit, there's two ways to do it. You can take oil and spread it over top of your pasta, and that'll kind of like lock it in. But what you want to do is take cold water and put it on top of your pasta, and that'll allow it not to lock together.
Well, good
You
luck.
got some homemade gravy for that pasta tonight?
I think tonight's gonna be a ragu night. Don't kill me.
Man.
Hey, how about the French dressing? I know you got that.
We got hordes of it. We got a lot of
55-gallon drum pumper. Well, all right, Greggy.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show.
Great tips.
The
I got
Tackle Shop Live family loves everybody out there loves when you come on.
What do you got, Greg?
All right. I can't talk too much about it, but I was overnighted something from Australia, a prototype bait.
Uh-oh.
Brian Setlock threw it. So I'll send you guys a picture. You can't share it. But first cast, I caught one. All right. So there's something coming to the market. I literally turned the handle one time and I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
It is
shoot.
going to be a game changer. I promise you. It's from Nomad. It is unbelievable.
Wow.
I don't even know how they're doing it, but they're doing it.
Wow. We're excited.
Oh boy.
We're excited.
I got a little spot on the wall for it.
I got to see it. Hey, Greg, are you going to be around May the 15th?
I will be on Fork.
Oh, you're Fork that week. Okay.
I saw that and I'm like, damn it.
Catching giants.
Yeah, because I wanted to go out and we do that live again. That was fun. We had a good time with that.
It changed date the week before.
Oh, yeah. Well, All right, my friend. Thank you so much, Greg DePalma. Thanks for stopping in. We will catch up with you again. Good luck with all your tournament fishing coming up. I hope you steamroll it all the way through this bad boy.
We'll be watching, baby.
And thank you so much for the tips tonight. That was exciting, great stuff, and you really did our listeners a big thing here. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for continuing to support me, and you guys send me texts all the time, man. They mean the world to me. I really appreciate that.
Oh, great.
You're the man, GDP. You're the man.
Yeah, brother.
Keep it going, bud.
You got it. Bye.
All righty. Take care. There you go, guys. Greg DePalma.
Buzzbait master.
Buzzbait tips that, some of that stuff.
Guys, how cool is it? I mean, you talk about pro anglers.
Yeah.
And when they start talking, it's just, you can tell they're different. And Greg, he's got it. He's got the information. He knows.
I just shut up and just listen because it's so,
something.
I listen to all that stuff and I catch a little small things, that you really want to catch. And that is really cool. We appreciate that from Greg DePalma. So we got a little couple minutes here, George, and we want to talk about a couple things here.
Yeah, some tackle talk.
We got some tackle talk that we always get to, and this, I promise you don't want to miss. So hang on here. Tackle talk is coming up. Yeah. Tackle talk. We have some great stuff that's coming down the pipeline.
I do.
And George, what is going on with the tackle these days?
I have some stuff to show you all.
Yeah.
So we've been really busy the last couple days building web pages for sfttackle.com.
Yeah.
And merchandising product in the shop here. And we have the new family of Shimano Macbeth lures. And I am excited about these because I've had the chance to fish them for the last year. That's right. I got friends.
The Macbeth.
Places.
The Macbeth is.
It's a Shakespeare character.
It's a fantastic little crankbait.
So here we have the square bill, the 50F. F is in Frank. Reminds you very much of a Bagley KB1, which is an all-time great, famous fish catching machine. And I love the way these baits are painted. I love the color selection. And I love the fact that they're trimmed out with owner Zowire trebles, premium bait out of the pack. So this is the 50F.
That's important, putting good hooks on a hook.
Well, anymore. I mean, look at your companies out there. They're all putting a good hook on.
Yeah, and if you don't do that,
and a couple companies that aren't,
they're
being left in the dust.
Absolutely.
Now I've fished this bait. Mike has fished this bait. I don't know if Corbin's thrown this or not, but this right here is a pretty aggressive square bill. And it roots through some.
Well, you guys can see the body style of that thing. It does have a kind of aggressive. I think it's just coming in its own right now in this little warmer water.
I mean, it roots through some.
Yeah.
I mean, it roots through some.
I think we're gonna have some great success
last year.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
This is our original sample that we had.
Yeah.
And we threw this thing in some good days, and we threw this thing on some bad days, but we kept up throwing it just to learn it. The other bait that we've had some seat time with is the 57 flat, the Macbeth 57 flat. And this is, circuit board lip, flat, skinny, flat profile, casts really well. These are smaller baits, okay?
Yeah.
And these cast really well. Has a really tight but yet well-pronounced vibration to it.
Flat side
Yeah.
action.
I had a sample of this bait, but it was in some kind of weird Japanese color that, aggravated me more than the fish.
Yeah.
But I managed to catch a fish or two on it.
Yeah.
Comes through cover well, casts well. The Macbeth 57 flat. The one that I'm really fired up about is the shallow, what they're calling the shallow, which is a wake bait.
Yeah.
But a small bodied wake bait. We have so many awesome wake baits to choose from, but they're all big wake baits.
You're right.
There's the 2.5 wake from
Strike King.
Strike King. There's other wakes that we throw. They're all big. This is a little chicken wing sized wake bait. Beautiful selection of colors. Very, very excited. So that's the Macbeth family.
Yeah.
They took a long time to get here,
They did forever.
and we are heavily freaking stocked up on them.
We got them for you guys.
But that
Absolutely.
is only half the story, because this next program right here, get ready. This is called, and you remember the fuss that we made over the world minnow and the amount of fish we caught on the world minnow?
That thing's been stupid good.
This is the world crank.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you,
You got to see this thing in live action.
this is the world crank, Zoe trebles. They advertise it as a 10 to 12 foot diver. I will attest to the 10-foot part, because I saw it on my scope at 10 foot. Not a real aggressive wobble. Okay, so it's not tight, but it's not like real loud. Just a great deeper diver with the flash boost technology. Ton of awesome colors. But the one I'm really fired up about, and I actually did my testing on this in 42-degree water just because I wanted to see how it worked. This is the World Popper. Okay. Zoe wires, hand-tied, chicken feather treble on the back.
You guys can just see that little insert
Look at
just moving.
Look at that. I mean, that color, Mike, is the IU.
Man, I love that. They nailed that.
Oh my God. Yep.
But look at that little flasher in there, man. Can you imagine pop, letting it sit there, man, letting that thing just vibrate, Corbin?
You know what I learned about this?
Huh?
I'm a huge
Get
world minnow.
Oh, I know you are. Get
You know what I
the
learned about
net,
this?
Bobby.
This bad boy walks real good.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
a walking, talking.
It's in between size. It's like a tweener size. It's not real big diameter. It's nice and small, but yet it's a little longer than some of your poppers.
Well, the Tackle Shop Live family is massive Don Ivino Splash It fans. This is in between the Don Ivino Splash It and the Don Ivino Splash It 2.
Yes.
This is the perfect size
It
top
is.
water.
It's a great size.
Casts like a bullet, spits water real well, has that flash boost technology, flash scale. I'm just telling you, prepare your credit cards because you're going to be wanting them.
Good thing my tackle band's lifted.
Yeah. So we have all of those baits up. Webmaster Matt answered the call to the bell, prepared us for the show. He's also loading a bunch of 13 product. He's been loading the Jabberjaws. He's been loading the jerkbait. What do they call it? Jerkbait.
Loco.
The Loco Minnow. He started loading up rods and reels. He's got the Omen Black rods, spinning and casting loaded, which are pretty sweet bait casting and spinning rods. He's got the Origin F1 reel loaded. He's getting ready to put the Origin A up. So that's Tackle Shop Live tonight, boys. Always got a couple toys to throw out there. And guess what? Next week, I got some two important announcements for next week's Tackle Shop Live. It's going to be interesting.
Oh.
And somebody by the name of Drew Cook's going to help out with it.
Uh-oh.
Just saying.
Drew Cook next week? When's Fighter Man?
He's coming up.
He's coming up?
Yeah, I'm scheduling, baby. I got a lot of people wanting to come in.
Well,
I only got so much time.
Well, what they got? He has to go to a tournament here in a couple weeks.
Well, maybe he'll skip it. I don't know.
Maybe he'll skip it.
What are we doing? Like 3 shows a week soon, or
We're going to have to. I mean, we're getting booked up here.
It's going to be like the Johnny Carson show.
Well, hey, we ought to reach out to Poche again.
The last thing I want to say tonight is what I would like to call SFT happenings. Tackle Shop Live happenings. And so we have a great friend of Susquehanna Fishing Tackle, longtime friend. We grew up, we spent the last 30 years fishing together, Mike and I, and our buddy Habby. And he lost a battle with COVID, and he's no longer with us. And Habby was a hardcore bass fishing, saltwater fishing, everything fishing machine.
Yep.
And his family is not. So we suggested to them that we get a nice spring day and have them do a little parking lot yard sale for Habby. And so he's going to have his arsenal here. His family's going to have his arsenal here on Saturday morning. And it's good quality. Habby bought the best. He was a G. Loomis, a Shimano guy. He liked what he liked. And so
you might want to come to this.
I might get here
and get some tackle.
Yeah, I might get here like first thing because these things hit quick. The other thing we have going on here Saturday, which I think is very interesting.
This is exciting.
Our good Daiwa rep, Mr. Greg Mancini, is coming in to work the shop on Saturday. He's been wanting to get out here and spend a day at the shop, and his schedule's been helter-skelter, hectic, whatever you say.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing all kinds of Sims, Daiwa DVEC logoed up Sims shirts, so that if you buy a Tatula rod or a Tatula reel, you don't have to mail in
that's
for your free shirt.
And that's a big deal. That's a mail-in rebate that is going to be you're going to be able to pick it up right on the spot.
Yeah.
No mail-in. So that's a what's a $70 shirt.
Hey, USPS.
Yeah. So that's going to be a great deal. We're going to be here all day Saturday, 8 to 4, and I don't know when he's rolling in, but he's going to be here pretty early.
Yeah, Greg Mancini will be here. We're going to talk Daiwa.
Yep.
We're going to talk Tatula.
Yep.
We're going to have some swag up in the house.
Got some great rods here. We may have a couple of deals going on for you guys for on Daiwa. So you definitely want to stop in for that.
There's going to be some deals.
And also, just keep your ears peeled for these little deals. And we got some great specials coming up online too. Over the next couple of maybe this weekend, starting this weekend, there's going to be a great online special on some products. I'm not going to keep it secret because it's just going to drop on you like a bomb. So as always, it's always important to stay up on our social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, because we do a lot of communication through there. We don't advertise so much in the big media, but we use the social media and our emails So pay attention to that to stay up on all these cool little deals that we're going to be doing the next couple of weeks. So, got anything else, Corbin?
Well, no.
No.
Other than I'd like to wish your dad a happy birthday.
Ah,
I mean,
That's nice of you, Corbin.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, the A1 from day one, the OG, one of the founding fathers of SFT, has a big monumental birthday coming
80.
up this weekend. And I know there's a lot of listeners on here that
They know.
him. You know, you
They
guys
know
are
him,
very-
yeah.
Yeah. So
Pop's turning 80.
exactly.
Pop's turning 80. We're
Yep.
going to have a big party for him this weekend on Saturday after work. And, we're looking forward to that.
Yep.
And, he's going to fish with us this year, Nick. He's going fishing.
He's gonna be on live.
He might still have a trick or two up his sleeve. He's got to teach you.
He always has a trick or two. I never put anything past him. So he's feeling a lot better. He had some, problems last couple of years, but he is ready to roll. He's going to go fishing with me and George, and we're going to get him out a couple times. So really looking forward to that. But happy birthday, Pop. And we will see you on Saturday for your big, big birthday bash.
Next week, Drew Cook.
Yeah, next week, Drew Cook.
Take us home, Mikey.
Thank you, everybody, for stopping by another edition of Tackle Shop Live. We'll see you next time.
A sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day you called me up, you told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down or when I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait, it's not a funny game. You know just what I feel. Please tell me your love is real.